Welcome everyone. Actually, I should this is already logged in. Yeah, a little bit exhausted and stuff. So today I'm somewhat too done to do anything useful. So let's package some vintage stuff, right? We also should release our Linux distribution, and the main thing was the grub2efi stuff. I really should spend today's midnight or so testing that. Not feeling like doing that now because usually this DOCSIS internet fails too much to do that live. What I wanted, so you've seen this in the thumbnail maybe, my hunt for vintage graphic cards continue. Maybe one day if I continue like this, then maybe one day I will have all graphic cards I previously could never have. But I only have a PCIe RISC-V unmatched here, so I can't actually plug it in right now. But so yeah, this is coming sometime soon. So I have a huge stack. I mentioned this before. Like in total over the whole pandemic, I think I auctioned easily 10, if not a dozen, cards from PCI to AGP and PCIe. So yeah, some vintage fun will also come. So you probably want to share, like, and subscribe if you want to see some good stuff. Why is my system behaving so strange today? Why can't this is so strange. Why can't I close this? Is bizarre. You can't make this up. What's wrong with the touchpad? I don't know. Why does? Can't make this stuff up. Anyway, crazy stuff. Where is my? So that is here. So basically, let's do a easy live stream. Oh, this is also running. Let's do an easy live stream. Does this work? Okay, click there. Basically, usually when I want to do something serious, people ask me all kinds of questions. So today, let's do something not serious, and let's see if you ask me all kinds of crazy questions. Also, I auctioned. By the way, if you want to do me a favor, I auctioned. No, I didn't auction. I brought this from some cheap store. This is this. I think Espressif. This particular is, I paid this, not a paid advertisement, some cheap overseas WaveShare ESP-C3. So this is Espressif ESP-C3. So this is a new variant. Not previously they were using the softcore Extensia. So this Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module stuff here now with RISC-V 160 MHz. If you want to do me a favor, I googled this. The programming stuff is like, yeah, this stuff, you would hope there is some easy, like 5 lines of open source stuff, but no download, some overseas cheap crap software. So if you want to do me a favor, this, by the way, should be less than $10. So one of the cheapest RISC-V, only 32-bit, of course. I'm not even sure. I read the spec a little bit. They mention an MMU. I'm not sure if it's fully Linux capable. Well, it has only has so much SRAM. So whatever, maybe half a megabyte SRAM and 2 megabyte flash. So obviously you don't want to run Linux. I'm anyway not sure, even for our own stuff. They mention an MMU. If this is a full-featured MMU, I don't know. But yeah, if you want to do me a favor, research some open source stuff and send me a link of, because I'm not really feeling like installing their strange, yeah, 2022 or this modern stuff of download this random code, and it's like, yeah, thank you very much. Welcome everyone. Carlos asks, when do I know I am a programmer? When you manage to program some stuff, I guess. Dr. Schubert is tired too much stuff. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's honestly, it's growing a child, obviously, and that like without any external help, because avoiding all kinds of contact. So obviously, after nearly 2 years of this ongoing worldwide virus thing, where we keep as much isolated in the home office with a newborn for soon 2 years, like day and night. I can tell you, I'm not my wife even more than, but yeah, I can right now not do much more than just sit here and hope for the best. Because normally, normally you would share some kids time with some neighbors and parents and stuff. In these crazy times, all you do is sit alone at home or outside at the beach. Without kindergarten and stuff. That is truly amazing stuff, right? So, this grub-efi stuff, I said it before, I delayed it a little bit. I should have long done it. Fixing our grub-efi stuff. But this is too boring, too boring for live stream, so let's package some stuff. David asks, what are the things you dislike about Rust? Well, mostly their cargo ecosystem, this crazy amounts of micro dependencies, and especially that in that context that they statically link everything, and then often in one package like Firefox or even Rust or Cargo or cbindgen or stuff, you have sometimes, due to specific explicit versions, you have even multiple times those dependencies, like let's say with version 0.41 and 0.42 linked in. And then in general, on top of that, I find the language a little bit hard to wrap the brain around, a little bit hard to read. And last but not least, these are the major things, but for me, like preferring more minimalistic systems in the meantime, after working for 20 years with this excessive GNU stuff that is getting bigger and bigger, that Rust also has a really huge code base in terms of the Rust compiler itself, plus LLVM, which LVM, of course, one of the more outstanding beta packages, but it's just a tremendous amount of code base. So, but yeah, I would actually prefer something more smaller. I also wanted to make a talk. I have several topics I want to talk about. So one thing, like 20 years ago, I was actually a fan of static typing, like C++, or Rust. And the last years I spent writing quite some dynamically typed Lua application logic code. And I have to say, for lots of stuff, I would actually like, or similar to our T2 shell scripting here, I would actually say that maybe not everything should be aesthetically typed. It's actually like, I would say application logic is, in my experience, magnitude faster to write and prototype in dynamically typed code like Lua, and in contrast to C or C++, or God forbid C or Rust. So I wonder if like the majority of an application should even be written statically typed in C or Rust. But leave in the comments below. So yeah. When I ask microkernel, microkernel will be soon, right? Like each week I spend some hours thinking and prototyping of some stuff. I'm still with this microkernel, so we will continue to do like some low-level stuff. So soon we will do, like similar to yesterday's concept video, RISC Curve Assembler, which of course I will continue. I'm still prototyping around what kind of language formats and stuff I would want to use. And with this microkernel, we will of course do separate low-level videos, like the 3D programming, which I also would like to continue, like some early demos. So we will have some boot bring up, some context switching, some interrupt handling, and some drivers and so on over the next month in the context of microkernel, and also some graphic demo fun, including more I said it, I have a dozen of graphic cards. So we will also do eventually some reverse engineering and low-level fun with NVIDIA, like early NVIDIA. I have like first-hand from my brother, I said it before, the Riva TNT2. So the reason I start with those cards is that they are tremendously easier to work with, and I want to have some readable code because XOR code is not the most readable, and welcome everyone. What I also saw, I auctioned, I never had 3D Labs card, obviously, because who had, right? This professional workstation card. I don't know if they work. They both arrived. 3D Labs Realism. I will not fully reverse engineer them. Maybe I will have some lightweight fun with them, because obviously there's very little open source code with them. I hope they both work. I have not tested them yet. One is PCIX and the other is, the Realism 500 is PCIe, but with an open firmware BIOS for Sun Ultra 40 or 45, whatever that was. And so I'm not sure if it will of course not post, but I don't know if the Linux driver will work on that in an x86 box. And I also don't, I also don't know if that will work with, because I don't have an Ultra 45, if that has a chance to work with an PCIe to PCIe bridge on a Sunblade 1000. I have the feeling maybe not, but anyway, we will see. Yep. So we will have similar to the Verge Voodoo, to have some fun with in the context of microkernel. So we will also write some graphic demos and But first I need to have some early boot, some x86 versus PowerPC versus RISC-V or so, early boot code in QEMU and real hardware. And then we will see. Also with writing our own long-term JIT, I said it 100 times, I would prefer to have stuff more automatically optimized, especially for x86, but even RISC and so on. And so lots of stuff to come, which we want to share, like and subscribe. So let's see, we have here what was it, MTX. Let's SVNMK. DSZ is wildcard. So let's package this. These are old drivers that only work like similar. For reverse engineering, I find it easier to reverse engineer with Linux, obviously. So I just package them. I will not even test them today. Just like, let's answer some more stuff. And have here some fun. Also, if you have any T2 patches and stuff, then leave in the comments below. When people talk about lightweight C++, it's just C++ with exclusion of many libraries, or what exactly? So for me, this means like I previously said like embedded C++ or lightweight. This means like not using crazy features, certainly not RTTI runtime type information, maybe not exceptions, and also not like crazy template stuff that I personally often find getting out of hand rather quickly and leading unreadable error messages. Some templates, yes, for example, for endianness swapping, but this is also a thing that I wonder whether, yes, there are like already 24 plus languages, but what I would really like I would like even C has so many crazy things that even I didn't expect to work. Just Google obscure C code that does crazy stuff. And C++ even more. So I even wonder what I would actually really like is some like Lua JIT, like Lua JIT, like high level, like not the greatest fan of garbage collection, but in that context, maybe that is unavoidable, certainly not to be used in a kernel. But what would be really cool if it would be probably not easy to design, but I would like some Lua with statically typed option, or like at least so that making it easier to work with binary data. Certainly somewhat like Lua JIT, FFI, foreign function interface, and I wonder if it's worth to create like a small implementation of somewhat C compatible without supporting historic garbage and baggage. And like a sane C subset with lightweight C++ compatibility with some Lua dynamically typing, something of that sort. I know there is Lua JIT, there's also small that was renamed to something else. But yeah, mostly because Rust is way too complex for me. I'm not really, yeah. And yes, there is Zig and Go, obviously. And maybe Julia comes close to what I would want, just Julia is similar, huge in size. So somehow usually when stuff doesn't easily build for me and I look into it and the size is just sheer humongous, then I already lose interest in that. But yeah, you had me at lightweight C++, so it's not, as I said, also it's not really libraries, but mostly like other features like RTTI and yeah. But there's certainly not like a technical term of lightweight. It's more for me like using C++ without crazy features and complexity, for example. But it's also not using it C-like. It's still using templates. I think templates for containers and other automated type conversion and functors and stuff. This can actually be pretty useful. What was the download of this? Hello, somehow this browser is completely messed up. What happened with this browser here? Why is somehow you can't make this stuff up live today live? Peak bugs, man. This is just sad, to be honest. Let's hope this comes back with. Does it have full session restoring? Oh, maybe it has. Amazing. No clicks work again. 2022 even. Even right clicks. Or anyway, browser doesn't work right away anymore. So Wildcat. So this is Wildcat. So they have is that what was it exactly? Was it Wildcat 4 3D Labs? It is funny that they styled that realism and the internal name was Wildcat. Let's see, was this Wildcat? Wait a second, isn't? Oh no, they call this Wildcat realism. What was the general? Oh, this was Wildcat 4. So that is another. This naming really sucks a bit. I think there. What is the Xorg? Oh, I think this was only. This was only Wildcat, wasn't it? I mean, we could. I mean, not that it would anyone with the same mind would use this in production nowadays. Wildcat realism, but the driver is just Wildcat. Okay, who cares? What did we had? We had Matrox MTX. Oops, also Wildcat. I mean, later we can rename this however we want. But I think the difference is this package from Matrox was named like that already. Wildcat disk. And we also want that. And install Matrox cache conf. We also need this package, post linux conf. Yeah. Hey, some people, it's crazy how many people watch with do some. This is also exactly why I didn't work on the grub2efi scripting, because it is even too boring for me. So of course it is pointless. Maybe it's even somewhat a little bit waste of time working on the 3D Lab stuff. I just have some watch list of exotic stuff on eBay, obviously, like so many people have, and eventually when stuff comes up relatively cheap, then eventually I source it here. Especially here, building a YouTube channel is fun hobby. Then having this kind of stuff is, of course, not the worst thing to have. 686, yes, downloading that too. Whatever, who reads this stuff anyway, right? And what I would really find cool for the old 3D Labs, which actually without video, I wrote some Glint, I think, was their stuff. I mean, the crazy thing is 3D Labs was the initial Glint stuff had actually open source drivers, and was even the reference card or initial card where the new DRI, direct rendering infrastructure stuff, was written with. And it is crazy, not only that this company, now they're of course not doing graphic cards anymore. Creative Labs brought them and they did some multimedia stuff. It's like, yeah. But it's crazy that maybe this companies like Matrox and 3D Labs would exist if they would actually engaged Linux and support that. And especially as they initially had a open source driver. I'm not sure how this worked, if those other people wrote it. Was it Precision Inside or whatever those were? And it is really sad. So for the original Glint stuff, I found specifications. You find them on the internet. I wish, nowadays with the right to repair, I actually would say there should be a law that if the stuff goes out of business or out of support, that at latest then hardware specifications need to be made public to continue to support this card. Theoretically you could still, so the latest wildcat, it would still make an okay Linux desktop, I would think. And back in the days as well, were the most expensive cards, right? Maybe space flight simulator stuff was more expensive, but they were quite capable, and you could still use them for, even if you phased them out at work, you could still use them at home for a respectable desktop. And that is somewhat sad that you can't really use these cards. It takes open source community people to reverse engineer this, and it makes, of course, like in this case, it makes zero sense except for the history and a YouTube channel, which is also, yeah, it was fun to do this live on YouTube with the Matrox Pahelia. I'm not really sure if I do it again with those. Maybe I do. Leave in the comments below. Do we have here somewhere? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, fine. Maybe we already know what. I can link to the website. Not. Oops. Yeah, somewhat pointless, but some fun nonetheless. We will see. Now I have a kid, right? Maybe he wants in 10 years, when he has 12 or so, wants to have fun with then even more vintage workstation cards. We will see. Time will show. I probably want to share, like, and subscribe maybe in some 12 years. Some little Padawan wants to do some reverse engineering. So yeah, 201-05 TG set. Wildcat, so we copied that from here. Wildcat conf. Why are you saying I'm insane? So I do Linux open source for 20 years, and in total I mess with computers for nearly 30, yeah, kinda. I mean, if you count the first years of trying to operate DOS and basic and Turbo Pascal stuff, but yeah, 20 plus years of significant useful stuff, but growing increasingly tired of the complexity of modern Linux systems. What do we have here? Why do we have, wait a second, why is this, what is it even doing? What? Yeah, what is it doing? This is the Linux kernel, this is why. Okay, this name is slightly, so this needs a little bit install wildcat. I mean, basically there's not even so much of a point to have here some named function. Oops. Thank you for the insane compliments. I was hoping for that, but YouTube comments, hey, we have 15 people. Some more crazy stuff, some more crazy vintage stuff you do. So many people would. Yeah, what actually makes more sense, we have here this P3, right? And what, I mean, besides, it also doesn't make the most sense to support that, but what would be a fun project would be to use a software emulator, RPC3 or what plus minus variations the name is. And also because it has a pretty, obviously quite full-featured implementation of the NVIDIA RSX. And I would think we can't run Linux directly in it because it doesn't implement full system emulation with MMU and stuff. It only implements user space emulation for the game applications, similar to QEMU Userland, QEMU User. And by the way, this way, yeah, and we would need to write some homebrew shim like Hello World application, and theoretically this should allow us to reuse that software and emulator implementation to actually hopefully much easier work on the P3X driver, because as seen previously, the last years, we get relatively quickly, well, it works proof of concept, but we get quickly hypervisor exception interrupts. And I have not yet found out how to gracefully recover from that state, so that would certainly make it way easier with software emulation to much faster prototype that. And this is also why I want to build a repository of readable, smallest minimal working readable code, and this also the NVIDIA TNT2 from 20, how many do we, yeah, 20 years ago, 25 soon years ago. What is it even, NV something 3 or whatever. Let's just take the phone call back in a second. Yeah, so that is why creating some readable code and sharing that with other demo scene and hopefully build a healthy community around that wildcat. Let's see, so we need to adapt this a little bit. Let's mark it cross-compile. So I also need to rush in some minutes. A girl called asks to go get some groceries, some stock. All right, we need to completely adapt that as well. So Wildcat. So the thing is with this binary only drivers, never have been much of a fan. All right, we match that. What is the easiest? So the thing is, wait a second, do we override that? What we would need is if this matches something. So star extract only. So yeah, so that is a little bit annoying with this. Maybe actually, maybe people have this binary drivers always have been a major mess and pain to work with. So this should have extracted that and downloaded that, and also recompress that. Let's see, Wildcat. So if you use this for reverse engineering, which maybe the Euler said we shouldn't do, but who cares right now after 15 years anyway. This extracts in the contradictory. Thank you very much for that. So Wildcat. So then, what did that had? We also need to. So yeah, I really hate this with a passion. So those vendors have really created really annoying stuff. So can this extract only? Nah, I so hate this mess they created there back in the day. So they tail that, so this is a really stupid package. I wonder if we can somehow automate this. So this is plus 98. What? What does this E4 stand for? 5 E4, not E4, whatever. Yeah, 102. I wonder if so tail plus 102 is this after WC package, hopefully. Can't make this stupid packaging up, really. What was that? 3 to 6. What? Oh. So this is something. Let's try 101. Okay, this is exactly this package. So I wonder if we probably, I mean, why do they do? I mean, they probably use some tool to package that, I would think. Such a stupid, like, yeah, 15-year-old technology of self-extracting tar. Archives, you can make this stuff up. So yeah, as usual, always happy to hang out here. I need to run shortly as the bakery is closing soon. And then I need to continue entertaining Junior. How do we could, I mean, maybe we simply use SEDs. So we could SED that from that to end. I need to check. So or actually what we need to do is we need to delete that. So we probably like D and then comma range something. I need to look this precisely up. And yeah, continue this later, just for the fun of it. But even these binary packages, we could actually, should we quickly take a look into that? And this was tail, right? Tail, the stuff of tar. What was it? Not 101? Oh, maybe does it need? That was 100. All right, I changed this for testing. That is why that didn't work. What? Why does it not? Yeah. Yeah, that extracts everything in here. I looked into that already the other day. Unfortunately, the sources, some people always think, yeah, there are some sources in there. This is only some wrapping shim. There is nothing of value in there. This is just most minimal and their Windows driver API adjusting glue. So that is totally worthless. All their secret magic lives inside those static archives, which are ironically named lib, because obviously some Windows programmer worked on that. And so yeah, they have some 3DL2 compiler in there for their shaders, and then the Wildcat driver libgl as per so often. And slightly wonder what was somewhere, whatever that exactly. So the crazy thing is, most likely somewhat insecure. This back in the day, this often was YOLO'd strangely together. So back in the day, security was an afterthought even more than today. So often they did crazy stuff. Where do they want the change mode LMM server? So they, whatever this stuff does, we would need to disassemble. Maybe there's some shader compiler service or whatever this strange service stuff is. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, a driver, so yeah, Wildcat KO kernel object, tainting your kernel, because we need to YOLO glue there this building this kernel model. Of course, this will not work with modern kernels, but this is not a problem for reverse engineering, as with the previous video with the Matrox Pahelia. We simply take an old T2 installation from 15 years ago and reverse that there with MMIO trace or Valgrind, something of that sort. Anyway, I wonder if all my reporting of this Vodafone stuff helped, because right now it's the least broken than it was since many months. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, T2 release is coming. They're somewhat delayed. At least we updated plenty of stuff, including new packages from new contributors, and ADA from new contributors and maintainers. Super amazing stuff. So at least the delay is was not for nothing. And at least we have plenty of new stuff and improved Rust and Cargo and a vintage Wildcat driver soon as well, if you're not running a Matrox MTX or M9 series. So yeah, I have to run. Amazing that so many people tune in. That is always nice to see. I hope you learned something and enjoyed this random tinkering. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice weekend, and I hope to see you soon for the next fun stuff to come.